It is mantles that carry mandates.
Ce sont les manteaux qui portent les mandats.
Mantles carry your mandate.
Ce sont les manteaux qui portent les mandats.
It takes a man to declare the counsel of Jehovah to you.
Ça prend un homme pour déclarer la plan de Dieu
This
dans ta vie.
morning, connect to whatever I say with my mouth.
Ce matin, connecte ce que je dis avec ma bouche.
Whatever devil that is fighting you,
Tout diable qui te combat,
whatever devil that is rising against
tous
you,
les diables qui se lèvent,
whatever altar that is working
tous
against
les
you,
auteurs contre toi.
as everybody shout amen today, I declare it is arrested by fire. Amen. There is no new beginning without a man of God to enforce,
Il n'y a pas un nouveau commencement
to
sans
enact
un homme
it,
de
to
Dieu
prophesy it,
pour réagir simplement,
to declare it
pour
yes,
déclarer
sir,
ça
into your life.
dans ta vie.
Prophets
Les prophètes,
are very strategic
ce
individuals.
sont les gens qui sont importants.
Prophets,
Les prophètes,
we operate in the realm of the supernatural.
ils opèrent dans un règne
Ladies and
supernatural.
gentlemen,
Dames et messieurs,
prophets are eyes in the spirit.
les prophètes sont les yeux dans l'esprit.
Prophets are eyes to the spirit.
Les prophètes sont les yeux de l'esprit.
I want you to connect yourself strongly
Je veux que tu te connectes plus fort.
so that your new beginning today you can be able to connect it well.
Que ton nouveau commencement, tu peux bien connecter bien.
New beginning is to create fresh dynasty of achievement.
Le nouveau commencement pour faire un nouveau
Every new
spirituel.
beginning is to create fresh dynasty of achievement.
Le nouveau commencement, c'est pour commander.
Every new beginning is to create fresh dynasty of achievement.
Le nouveau commencement, c'est pour créer quelque chose de nouveau supernatural.
Every new beginning, sir,
Chaque nouveau commencement,
is to rise above general limitation
c'est pour que tu te reviennes
in pursuit of life and destiny.
pour suivre la vie et le destin.
To rise above general limitation
Que tu te suis
in pursuit of life and destiny.
que tu suis la vie et le destin.
There are limitations everywhere,
Il y a limitations partout.
but anytime you enter new beginning,
Mais chaque fois que tu entres dans une
you rise above limitation.
tu te lèves en dessous.
The Spirit of the Lord took me to a valley of dry bones.
L'Esprit de l'Éternel m'a mis dans les vallées.
Let me tell you something, child of God.
Je veux dire quelque chose, l'enfant de Dieu.
Rising is by choice.
Pour que tu te lèves, ça
Going
fait choix.
down is by
Pour
choice.
que tu te tombes, ça te
To rise in life is by choice.
Pour que tu te reçois à la vie.
Going down is by choice.
Pour tomber, c'est un choix.
Going down can also be by compulsion.
Pour tomber, c'est comme un.
To rise, to have new beginning is by choice.
Pour que tu te reçois.
To remain in all things is also by choice.
Pour rester dans les choses anciennes, c'est un choix.
But God can bring you into your new beginning
Mais Dieu peut vous amener dans un nouveau commencement.
so that He can be able to teach you certain things you need to know.
Que pour vous enseigner certaines choses que tu dois savoir.
You can also remain in the past.
Tu peux rester au
You can
passé.
still be fighting current battles
Tu peux combattre les batailles.
because God is trying to make you strong
Parce que Dieu veut te faire fort.
so that your future will not reject you.
Que ta future ne te relâche pas.
Do you know that few weeks ago
Vous savez que les semaines sont passées.
I was praying in the midnight
J'ai prié à minuit.
and I told God,
J'ai dit à Dieu.
why is it that this kind of battle came to me this year?
J'ai dit pourquoi ce genre de bataille venait sur moi cette
And
année.
God said, what is the theme I gave you for this year?
Il dit que qu'est-ce que le thème que j'ai donné
Yes,
cette
sir.
année.
And I answered him, waxing strong.
Il dit que marche
He
fort.
said, now the strong you they wax now.
Voilà marche qui marche fort.
Hey, I said, my God.
Il dit oh mon Dieu.
So the theme of the year
Le sujet de cette année,
is a reflection
ça s'agit.
of my encounter in the year.
C'est que j'ai
So God is trying to toughen me.
Dieu veut me prendre fort.
God is trying to rewire me, remodel me,
Dieu veut
repackage me,
Il veut me reconstruire.
restructure me,
Il veut me
remold me,
Il veut me faire encore.
so that when I come out
Dès que je sors,
after a certain season,
après une saison,
the whole world will know that this one have been in the cave of Adullam.
tout le monde entier va savoir que l'autre c'était dans
So
un endroit
God
fermé.
can purposely allow you
Dieu peut,
so that you can go down to certain
il
encounters,
te laisse pour que tu tombes pour
so that He can be able to teach you,
qu'il peut être capable pour
so that you can be able to learn.
que tu peux apprendre.
It was not devil that took Ezekiel to valley of dry bones.
C'est pas le diable qui a mis Ézéchiel dans la
It's
vallée
not
de-
every problem you pass through that devil is the cause.
C'est pas tout ce que tu savais que le diable est
Sometimes your next level is tied to a battle.
derrière. Parfois ton deuxième niveau est attaché à une bataille.
Sometimes your next level is tied to the kind of challenge you weather and come out.
Parfois ton
Yes,
ton
sir.
Stop glorifying native doctors. Stop glorifying your enemies. Stop glorifying your neighbor. Stop glorifying anybody. It was the Spirit of God that took Ezekiel down to the valley of dry bones to teach him that dry bones can become a great army. To teach him that every dry bone has hope. There could be a situation you're passing through now. Permit me to say this to you. God is aware.
Yes, sir.
And that is why it has not killed you. It will not kill you, and it can never kill you.
Yes, sir.
Let me say this to you too. It was the Spirit of God that led Jesus. Jesus entered the wilderness to fast and to pray. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. Wilderness is a dry place, no water. It's not devil that led him there, Pastor Great.
Yes, sir.
It's not witches that led him there.
Yes, sir.
It was the Spirit of God that led him into the wilderness, so that he can be tempted of the devil. When Jesus now entered wilderness, he enforced a program of praying and fasting. He turned the scarcity to fasting. He used the opportunity of staying there to fast. Hear me well. It was God was aware that Joseph will enter into the prison. When he entered into the prison, he turned the prison to leadership class.
Yes, sir.
God was aware that Daniel entered the lion's den.
Yes, sir.
When he entered the lion's den, sir, the lion's den, he converted it into a tourism center.
Yes, sir.
What is life throwing at you now? Something beautiful, something great, something powerful can come out of your life.
Yes,
Anybody shouting amen today, I declare your story changes for good. When life take you to one corner, become the chief cornerstone there. When life throw you stones, convert the stone to stepping stone.
Yes, sir.
When life throw you lemon, convert it to lemonade.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, whatever life gives you, you have the power to transform every situation you come into. The Bible said I can do all things in the book of Philippians through Christ that strengthens me. A particular woman was a white woman. She had a neighbor that was black. This thing happened in America. She has hatred for black people. So when she discovered that her neighbor was a black African, a black African boy, this woman began to misbehave where the black African boy is. She will eat things that are waste. Instead of her to dispose it in a dustbin, she will throw it over to the next compound, into the compound of the black African. And the boy never complained. She will eat. She will eat fruit. The fruit will remain. She would any dustbin, the dirty she get, dustbin she get. Instead of her to dispose it properly, she will throw it to the black boy's compound, so that the black boy can complain, maybe do what he wants to do, and she will say he got no paper, and they will deport the black boy. But guess what? The black boy never complained. He went and carried a plant. When he saw that that place they were throwing those junk was turning into a fertile ground, he went and planted a flower there. So when the woman is throwing junks, it just falls down there and becomes a manure. After some years, this white woman became very sick. Very sick. The black boy had it. So every day, he would pack some fresh rose flower and send to the woman's compound. The man will receive the flower.
La femme va accueillir la fleur.
I said, oh my God, I like
Il dit, mon Dieu,
flowers.
j'aime les fleurs.
And the woman will smell the flower.
Elle va sentir les fleurs.
So she continued to do that thing for 1 month until she got better.
Jusqu'à fait ça pour un mois.
When she got better, she asked her Kiara,
Elle a demandé à la femme qui te prend soin de
who
elle,
sends me those flowers?
qui m'envoie les fleurs.
And the Kiara said, it's our black
La
neighbor.
personne qui prend soin de elle, que son
She
voisin
said,
qui était
what?
noir, il dit, qui?
I want to see that our neighbor.
Je veux voir ce voisin-là.
So she went to the neighbor's house.
Il est parti à la maison de
She
voisin.
knocked on the door.
Elle a cogné la
I
porte.
said, neighbor,
Il dit, voisin,
I want to thank you for those rose flowers.
pour tous les fleurs.
But how do you make them?
Mais comment vous avez fait ça?
The boy said, come, let me show you.
Le gars dit, viens, je vous montre.
He took her to that place where she throw dirty by
Elle
his
amène la
fence
dame là que la femme visitait les poubelles.
and said, I planted this flower here.
J'ai semé ce semence.
Each time you throw me something,
Chaque que tu me jettes les
each
choses,
time you throw junk,
dès que je sais les
it
choses,
falls here as manure
ça tombe comme les grains.
and it generates an energy that makes this flower to
Ça donne la
grow.
force que les fleurs se grandissent.
The woman began to cry.
La dame a commencé
He
à
asked her,
pleurer.
what do you want me to do for you?
La dame a demandé, qu'est-ce que tu veux que
And
je
the boy
fasse
said,
pour
I've got a case, I want you to help me strike
toi? Le
out.
gars dit que j'ai un cas que je veux que tu
That
me
was how
aides.
the story became. That was how the boy became a citizen of
C'est
America.
comme ça le gars venait un
There is
Américain.
something you are passing through
Il y a
now.
des choses que tu traverses maintenant.
If you give up,
Si tu laisses tomber,
who is going to feel the impact?
qui va savoir la réduction?
You are the one to feel the
C'est
impact.
toi qui vas sentir
So
la
don't
douleur.
whatever situation you are passing through.
Situation que tu traverses maintenant.
The Bible said that David encouraged
La
himself.
Bible dit que ta vie, c'est la
Don't let
douleur.
anything you are passing through make you
C'est
stop
que
coming
vous
to
avez
church.
maintenant, ne vous laisse pas venir.
Give up on your pastor.
Laisse ton
Cause
pasteur.
God.
Mon Dieu.
Am I talking to somebody here?
Yes, sir.
Mephibosheth went down to Lodibar
Mais Bochette n'est pas ta
because of his background.
à cause de là qui vient.
He didn't have legs to train like Jephthah.
Il n'y avait pas les pieds pour marcher comme Jephthah.
But King David
Mais le roi David,
sent to bless a remnant of the house of Saul.
il a moellé au message pour
He says, is there anybody left in the house of Saul
il est parti dans la maison de Saul
that I may bless him
que je peux le bénir.
for the sake of Jonathan, my
À
friend?
cause de la cas de Jonathan, mon ami.
Continue doing your covenant practice.
Continue à faire de bien.
Your covenant practice is very important.
Ton alliance est bien.
Don't play with your tithing.
Il ne faut jamais jouer avec ton
Don't
dîme.
play with your offering.
Ne joue pas avec tes offrandes.
Don't play with doing good.
Ne laisse pas faire de bien.
I read the news few days ago.
2 jours se passaient.
They were begging a man for 6 months
On supplie un homme pour 6 mois.
in a village called Adasiane
Un village qu'on appelle Adansien.
to become the king of a community.
Pour que soit le roi de ce village.
You know how people fight, kill themselves, lobby themselves, run after government officials, do broker everything to become kings.
Être le roi.
But a whole community
Mais tout le